Hello everybody, we're back and we're going to finish up our structured share in this video. And one thing I want to go over that's a little bit of a design change is here, instead of doing one bracket or one support structure piece in the middle, I'm going to do two separate ones. That's going to make it a little bit stronger. And the main reason I did this is because I am also not going to do a slot method here on the side. So imagine if I looked at this from the front view and I had half of this piece, a sliver cut out from this. That's the same, roughly the same width as this. Then it's not really gonna add a whole lot of support. If somebody sat all the way back or leaned back, it could crunch the cardboard or do some sort of damage potentially to it. So instead of doing a slot method, I'm actually going to potentially just insert it into the top on the brackets or these little support pieces. So what I did to make these is pretty straightforward. Is I took the initial curve, the profile of this, and then added some circles, curved booleaned it, made it a solid, and brought it over. And the reason I'm doing a full height of the bracket is so that it can be inserted and then slotted and then moved down. So why don't I demonstrate that by doing a Boolean difference and using these as my subtraction solids. And it just crashed. So I will see you in... Okay, so what I'm about to do is jump back in after I restarted Rhino, and we're going to do the Boolean difference on this piece. Boolean difference. We're going to select our cutting objects, hit enter, and there we go. We've got our slots. I'm going to hide this piece for right now. And what I can do now is show you how this is theoretically going to fit in. So I'm going to just copy this piece. And I'm going to start at this top corner and imagine this slotting in initially here. And then it would slot down. And let's see if I can grab the midpoint of this object. Where are you, object? There we go. That is exactly where I want it to be. So essentially you can insert it and then slot it down there. And this can also be slotted down as well. We'll just come up here. And where are you? Midpoint, perfect. There we go. And oh, I did a copy. Just delete that. All right. So now I've got my pieces. And I didn't have to remake this one because it's going to be the same as these. Pretty easy peasy. Let's keep things a little simple for ourselves. All right. So now what I'm thinking of doing is adding, I'm going to show, I'll just type it in so much quicker, is I'm going to make some fingers sticking off the top of these connectors so that they can be inserted into here. It's another form of adding a connection, and it's really just to kind of keep this stable. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my right view and look at this side piece right here. I'm going to come to curve from objects, duplicate face border. I'm going to duplicate this guy right here, hit enter, and then I'm just going to hide this piece for now. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of just little rectangle pieces. Let's see here. I'm going to do near snap, and I'm going to say maybe they're just going to be 1 inch long, but then they're only going to be the 0.26 inches tall. And so this is, my goal is to add this solid to this face or that block, and then remove that hole from the top seat, and also remove that same kind of hole down here on the shelf. So I'm going to mirror this because I am a fan of symmetry. Midpoint. And then I'm going to copy another one and add it as well. Midpoint. Enter. And then I'm going to hide this piece for right now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a curve boolean to get all of these. Now, you don't have to do a curve boolean. What you can do is you can extrude these and then join them to the other surface. But then, you know, when we try to unroll that surface, it's only going to unroll this face because it'll see these as a different face. So it's best to just combine those now than later. And I'm going to delete my inputs. No, I won't. I might need them later. Hit enter. I'm going to come back to my perspective view, and I'm going to select this object, and then I'm going to come to solid, extrude surface, straight. And, oh, come on now. Sorry, I meant to say extrude planar curve straight, and I'm going to select this curve. And I'm not going to do both sides, I'm just going to do one side, and I'm going to do it at 0.56. All right, so then I'm going to go to Edit, Visibility, Show, and I'm going to get rid of my one surface, poly surface. You can see the difference. One has the fingers, one doesn't. I'm going to delete the one that doesn't have it. And what I can do is I can actually just then copy this piece to those other pieces because they're just going to be the same. And you can actually see right there, they kind of match perfectly with that shelf solid piece. Right now I'm just going to delete those extraneous poly surfaces that are solids and get rid of those. And then I'm going to show my seats, and I'm going to mirror this piece. And I'm going to do transform mirror. I'm going to mirror that first. Again, we're just going to do the midpoint there. And the reason I'm going to mirror this again is because I'm actually going to cut this shelf down. It doesn't need to come out all the way. I'm going to do a curve boolean. Actually, no, I need to trim it with this object. If I do a curve boolean right now, there's going to be some holes here, and there's going to be some pieces that are sticking out, and that's not what we want. So instead of all of that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete that. I'm going to say curve. I'm going to come up here. This curve I got from doing an intersection with the original surface, the original solid and this profile solid. So I'm going to use that now. The reason I don't want that to go off the edge is because it will never, or further than past this face, is because it'll never fit properly. So I'm going to solid, extrude, planar, curve, straight, and I'm just going to go up to this. Let's do intersection, snap to here. There we go. That's what we're looking for. All right, so you can do that a variations of ways. You can draw a new rectangle and extrude it out. You can cut the piece, do variations of different Boolean commands, but I think that's one of the easier ones. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to do not a solid difference with these. What we're going to do actually is just do a intersection. And I'm going to grab the this piece, that intersection there. And what I want is that top rectangle right there. Because I'm going to add that circle at the end, those dog bones and things like that. So I'm going to do this and this. And I'll do one more here and here. I'm going to select this curve, select this curve, select this curve. And we'll do the curve boolean. And you know, if you can't tell, I'm just doing a series of different booleans to get what I need, the geometry I need that I can then apply and move to different areas. So I'm going to select that curve, and then I can just copy it. Let's just say from this edge to here, here, there, there, there. Ooh, there, there, and there. And now what I can do is come back and select, all right, computer. I'm going to hide these just to make it a lot easier. And I'm going to hide you too. Select these curves. And you guessed it, I'm going to extrude. Oh, come on. Come on. Help me help you. There we go. We have winners. Deselect this back. So I've got these curves that I'm then going to do the solid planar curve. Straights. Could do both sides because it doesn't necessarily matter. Got that. And then we can do the Boolean difference with all these other poly surfaces. And, oh, don't crash on me now, Rhino. Oh. And it crashed on me again. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording and I will try to pick up where we left off. Okay, so got everything back, and I'm going to, hide these objects where we left off. Hide. I've got my cutting solids, and I've got these pieces that I'm going to do a Boolean difference with. Boolean difference. Come on, computer. Stay with me. Boolean difference. There we go. All right, and these are going to be our little cutting objects. And boom, and there we go. Whew. I'm going to edit, select all the curves and things, and move them to our base geometry layer. And then I'm going to come up and edit visibility show. And I'm going to turn on all of our components, foot, and see what we've got. So this is looking pretty good. It looks like it's all going to fit nicely. And what I can do from here is I'm going to extrapolate faces and things for CNC cutting, right? So what I can start doing is I can unroll specific faces. Let's do unroll surface, and let's do this one. And now what's going to happen if I do a full poly surface is I'm going to get a bunch of like little surfaces here. So I'm not going to do that because that's kind of a lot. What I can do is I can take all of my unique objects and put them in a different layer. So I'm going to say surfaces. And I'm going to copy some of these. Copy objects to layer. And I'm going to work in that layer, hide my solids. And then what I'm going to do is kind of go through a process of trying to extrapolate those surfaces. One of which could be super easy, which is you could do a curve from objects, duplicate face border, and you can just duplicate this guy, and then while it's all selected you could do a planar surface. That's a super easy method, and then I can just delete that. So that's sort of my surface right there. Now these objects are going to be a little harder. I'm going to kind of move these out of the way a little bit. Right now they're not really making a huge difference whether I move them away. I can do planar surface with this. These are going to be a little more interesting. And what I can do is I can just explode those. And what I'm interested in getting from this is really these surfaces here. And I'm going to join those. Oh, I don't want to explode them. I want to join those. And then I'm going to move that out of the way. I'm going to just delete that extra information there because this is all I need. And I'm taking the outside. Again, remember, I want the surface or the information, the geometry that's going to be the most amount of material. If I took the inside surfaces, that's not going to give me a proper idea of how big that piece is. It's going to be actually slightly smaller. It's like looking at concentric circles. The outer circle is always going to be a longer or a larger circumference. And that's kind of the same theory here. So we're going to grab our outer surfaces. And I'm going to do that for all of the ones that are like this, that kind of bend in. So then what I can do is I can do an unroll surface. I don't want to explode it. And there we go. And we've got this. And what I can do from there is I could do a curve, duplicate face border. I'm going to select all of these. And you hit enter. Now that's going to give me some lines I don't need, but I can do a curve boolean from there and extrapolate just exactly what I need. And there we go. What you could have also done is, extrapolate those, cut holes, and then draw a rectangle, whatever method you prefer. I kind of like this method. Before I move anything, I'm going to make sure I group them. That way I can just move them into place. All right, so let's see, I can unroll. This guy too is ready to roll. Ready to roll, get it? Me. All right. I'll stop maybe. So I'm going to go through these other pieces and do what I can to extract those surfaces. And then we can lay things out and start cutting. So this ends our little mini video series on how to construct our geometry that, or a chair that is really much more structured rather than one that's a little more free form, following the our inspirational image there. So I hope this video helped you kind of get an idea of how you can start making your piece, maybe some different tactics and things like that, and most certainly any other design methods. So I will see you in the next video when we start laying everything out. All right.